Good evening, everyone. I'm Lissy Bastians. Thanks for staying with us. Exuma residents can now pay retailers and conduct business transactions digitally starting today. Central Bank of the Bahamas announced its new initiative on its website, stating that a digital version of the Bahamian dollar called Project Sand Dollar is equivalent in every respect to the paper currency. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest praised the launch, as he says the initiative is needed in communities like the Out Islands, where people have little access to banks and where it is difficult to conduct business.
This digital currency will facilitate commerce in those communities, reduce our need to transport physically cash back and forth, and reduce the risk of handling cash in that manner. I think this is a wonderful creation, innovation in the financial services fintech space.
Turnquest says he looks forward to its success and hopes that Bahamians will buy into it.
It will help us to, again, increase the efficiencies in trading. It will make us more of a cashless society, such that the risks of dealing with cash will be reduced. The cost of dealing with cash will be reduced, which will hopefully result in lower banking fees, lower financing cost, and that these unbanked communities will have access to online banking facilities and electronic transactions that will allow them to expand and to grow and be a full part of the Bahamian economy and, in fact, the global.
He says he looks forward to the launch in the entire Bahamas, where the country can become a cashless society. The tourism market in Grand Bahama has been compromised since the passing of Hurricane Dorian, with the biggest challenge being scale, and that is having sufficient hotel rooms to drive lift, therefore requiring the government to build demand for the island and return inventory back into the market, according to Minister of Tourism Dionisio de Aguilar, who says that it's being done by hinging on a number of projects, including prospects of a partnership with Royal Caribbean Cruise Line and a project already signed with Carnival Cruise.
This is the largest single investment that Carnival is making overseas in the history of their company, which is in Grand Bahama, approximately $100 million. So obviously that's going to start, the shovel is going to get into the ground, and that project's going to start. It's going to employ thousands of Bahamians. It's going to bring a number of skilled workers into the country to help develop that. We're on the cusp of hopefully signing a deal with our CCL, Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and ITM, which is a Mexican group. And they formed a joint venture to buy the Grand Lucayan and to transform that into an incredible property. Also, they want to build an attraction at the port in Freeport, the harbor there, to accommodate cruise passengers. So if we seal that project, that also will bring about additional investment, create additional need for bodies on the ground.
This, the minister says, will begin the journey to building that scale in Grand Bahama. Now, as for airlifts, as international flights in and out of Grand Bahama have picked back up, Mr. de Aguilar says flights follow demand.
So maybe what you have to do initially is you have to pay for airlift to come to your destination, just to provide a core number of flights in there. And as they fill up and as demand for those flights increase, a plane really has to travel at a load factor of about 86% before they put another flight in. So flights will follow demand.
Earlier this month, Sunwing Airlines made its official return to Grand Bahama following Hurricane Dorian, bringing 189 passengers from Montreal and Canada. The nation's fly carrier, Bahamas Air, also resumed services into the U.S. last week. As for where renovations are for the Grand Bahama Airport, Mr. de Aguilar, who also serves as Minister for Aviation, says this.
There's been a lot of buzz in the market about what is the plan of Hutchinson Ports for that airport. I don't think I would be remiss in saying that, they've had to rebuild that airport probably 3 times in the last 7 years. So they have a little bit of fatigue at running this airport. They've, caught their licks, as we say, and maybe be less interested in rebuilding it to what it once was. And so the government is looking at it. We've made no hard and fast decisions. We have to think through, if we were to buy it, how would we rebuild it? How would we fund it? How would we manage it? And all of this has to be thought through before you pull the trigger. As I say, buying it is the easiest part. It's how do you then take it to the next step. Right now, the people are focused on the operator of that airport, which is such as importance to make it work. And when we buy it, then that focus will shift over to the government of the Bahamas to make it work.
Mr. D'Aguilar added that to make it work, it will cost the government, particularly when it comes to building resiliency for the Grand Bahama Airport. The minister made these comments on Grand Bahama's state of tourism while appearing as a guest on JCN's Jones and Company talk show. Assistant Commissioner of Police Kendall Strawn is suing the government, having filed legal action and naming Attorney General Carl Bethel as the defendant. ACP Strawn's suit comes as a result of what the document reads as having regard to all the circumstances and the terms of the letter dated the 9th day of December 2019. The purported transfer to the Willamette Pratt and Simpson Penn Centers is unlawful in its terms as it amounts to dismissal from his post. Recently, ACP Strawn attorney Wayne Monroe said that Mr. Strawn was locked out of his office at the Royal Bahamas Police Force headquarters and had his user ID and emails deactivated, and after receiving a letter from the Commissioner of Police of his appointment to the Ministry of Social Services. In filing to the Supreme Court, ACP Strawn is seeking to have a declaration that the forced leave he took earlier this year was not vacation time and that his transfer to the Ministry of Social Services is unlawful. It further states the act of the Commissioner of Police has been inconsistent with the appointment, removal, and disciplinary procedures under the statute of law and the Constitution. According to the legal filing, ACP Strawn says he told Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson that he did not agree with the direction to take the vacation time he had accumulated, some 36 weeks. He consulted with his attorney, who advised him not to submit a request if he had no desire to take the vacation leave. ACP Strawn is seeking to have the Supreme Court declare that the mandatory leave imposed on him is not properly to be classified as vacation leave, but should be considered administrative leave. Well, by the end of January 2020, police officers will be outfitted with body cameras, so says Minister of National Security Marvin Dames. Following the signing of the contract for 55 aerial unmanned drones, Mr. Dames revealed that next on the list are the body cameras, which are just one aspect of his national security plans for the coming year. And with the body camera initiative, the National Security Minister says his ministry will continue to recruit competent individuals to the law enforcement agencies and expose them to world-class training in Canada and the United States. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.